Welcome again to Sports Talk Around the Clock. I'm your host, Danny Druin. We're here today with Lane Freeborn and Gabe Saketa.
As always.
Let's get started. Green Bay versus the Seattle Seahawks, Monday Night Football, crazy game. Many would say it is a debacle.
Debacle? I love that word.
If you guys watched last year, that was one of Lane's
my favorite word all season.
Right. What, Lane, do you think about the call at the end of the game, the Brandon Tate catch?
We actually have it here on highlight. So basically this is the last play of the game, last 8 seconds. He's basically going to just try and chuck it deep, make something happen. It's Hail Mary, Doug Flutie time, basically. He's going to get a little pressure off the edge by Clay Matthews, best linebacker ever. And then this is where it gets really chaotic right here. We'll slow this down for you. You got about 3 Green Bay Packers defenders all around and then 1 Seahawks wide receiver. And it appears right here that the Green Bay Packers guy has the ball. I mean, in my eyes, that's very clear that he has the ball right there. But
I would definitely agree with that.
Golden Tate grabs on to him right here. You can see his arm. Golden Tate, yeah.
I said Brandon a moment ago. I'm sorry.
Is it Brandon?
No, it is Golden.
Golden?
It's Golden from Notre Dame.
He's a
just
Golden
didn't think
Domer.
that anybody would
name
their child Golden.
Hey, he's Golden. He's playing in the NFL.
He's in the NFL.
So he grabs on. So now this is the thing. There's replacement refs right now. The NFL referees are on holdout right now. So these are replacement refs, which is why everybody's upset. Because what they do is they're going to call this a dual possession. Now, in the NFL, the rules in the NFL is when it's a dual possession, the possession goes to the offensive man.
Yes.
It goes to the offensive man. So that's what they're thinking. So this guy right here, you'll see come in, and he'll try to make a ruling. He rules touchdown, but as you see this guy over here,
this official
is totally disagreeing. He's calling it a no catch, an interception the other way. So
interception, touchback.
That is the big deal with this highlight. For me, the Green Bay Packer receiver is on top. He has the ball in control. So, in my eyes, this is probably the worst blown call in history. This is the other thing. It starts to just go chaotic, like there's a pile, like it's a fumble. It's not a fumble. It's either an interception or it's a touchdown. As you go later in the highlight, they try to uncover and they see that Golden Tate comes away with the ball, which is another thing I think influenced the refs, is because he ended up on the bottom of the pile with the ball somehow. But everybody was completely just, I think the NFL office got 70,000 voicemails from fans complaining about this game. It was the worst call I've ever seen. No question should it have been. The other thing is when those guys came over and they made their ruling, 1 touchdown, 1 no call, they shouldn't have done that. They should have conferenced about it if they weren't for sure, and then they should have made their decision. So this was one of the craziest games I've ever seen. It was.
And if you look at the beginning of that highlight, you'll see that Golden Tate obviously pushes off of whoever the defender in front of him is before he goes up to try to make the play, which should have been called. If you're arguing about the catch, which it was obviously an interception.
It's if you want to go back to that highlight, it's real kind of hard to see, but right here is where the push happens. It's just a blatant push.
Yeah, it's very blatant. He pushes.
He's down on the ground, and to go up and get that ball. So that should have been another call. I didn't even, I forgot about that. So some bad refereeing,
bad officiating. I think that. If you are in the NFL and you're officiating at that level and it's a big-time call, and there's those 2 officials come in to make that decision, they should have had at least talked to each other about it before they just started waving their arms in the air and making a decision. Because once the one referee signaled touchdown, all of that stadium just went nuts, insane, because they just beat the Green Bay Packers, making them 1-2 and making Mike McCarthy officially the angriest man on the face of the planet.
Yeah.
So, I think that this is something that's huge in the sports world right now. Replacement officials, obviously a problem. I think sometimes, maybe prior to this happening, if you'll listen to sports commentators, you'll hear them talk really, really poorly about the replacement officials. And, honestly, up until this point, I hadn't noticed a whole lot of things about their officiating that was too ridiculous. We talked about last week, statistically the same number of penalties as last year. So nothing that was too outrageous. But until now, when this call was made, just really upsetting a lot of people, especially big Green Bay Packers
It
fans.
also made it brought everything to light. Like I saw that they had a highlight of all the bad calls that had happened on the games on Sunday, and one was that in the Cowboys game, the referee had thrown his hat for some reason, either thrown it or it had dropped on the ground, and there was a wide receiver making a cut wide open in the end zone. Tony Romo, hits him perfectly, but he slips on the hat and misses a wide open touchdown. And it's like they're saying in any other game, an NFL referee is not going to throw his hat anywhere near a player unless the play is stopped or the play is made. The other thing about making that touchdown call on the field also means that all they can say is that it wasn't a catch. That's all they can say, and then there has to be conclusive evidence that there wasn't. And that was very choppy footage. So the NFL came back and said they ruled on Monday or Tuesday about it, and they stuck with the ruling with the referees, which also got them a lot more grief. But they had to go off the rules, which is, there has to be conclusive evidence. And from what to me, I saw that it was an interception, but definitely one of the craziest plays.
How do you feel, Gabe, if you are a Packers fan right now?
Packers fan, I'm obviously mad. I think Golden Tate made a great effort on the ball. He pushed in a situation where, it's the last play of the game. It's a Hail Mary. You got to make a play on a ball, and he made a great effort. Wasn't really his ball. I'd probably say it was definitely the cornerback's pick. He definitely caught it, but he gave the Seattle a chance to, come out with a win. And if I'm a Packers fan, I'm obviously mad. I've been cheated out of a win on a Monday night football game, big stage, big atmosphere, and I'm not happy about it. But I think the biggest part about the referees is they've created so much frustration between the coaches and everything. The coaches can't really communicate with them, it seems like. You've seen videos of them hands-on with referees and stuff like that. So, I think it's getting to that time where, this is just another landmark where we really need the old refs back, and this is pushing it a little more. So.
Yes, I think there's going to be a lot of talk as far as when is this lockout with the regular officials going to end. So, I think that there's a lot of, and everybody talking about how they are replacement officials, I think makes the officials more nervous too, like considering,
more pressure on them.
You might have been in the Big 12 officiating for 20, 30 years, but once you're to that next level, it's a little bit different. I think it's just the speed of the game changes a little bit.
The other thing you have to realize is that these refs were not what you would call the backups. They weren't the second picks. These are like the fourth and fifth picks because they went down and tried to ask D1 college guys, or officiating like the Oklahoma K-State game. They tried to ask those guys, but those guys are like, I'm making enough money. I'm happy what I'm doing. I don't want to go. So they had to go down to Division III. So basically like the refs that ref Southern games and stuff like that. Those are the refs that are coming up. It's a big stage. It's a huge change between a D3 ball game and in a.
I think a lot of them are starstruck, and seeing Tom Brady and all those guys on the big stage.
Oh my gosh, that's Tom Brady.
That's Tom Brady.
I don't know if that was pass interference.
It's Tom Brady. I was looking at Tom Brady the whole time.
Exactly.
So next to the Power 5 teams in the NFL, the top 5 teams. It's a little bit different this year because the Green Bay Packers, Aaron Rodgers, a bunch of heavy hitters on that team, but 1 and 2, maybe you've kind of gotten gypped out of a loss there a little bit, or out of a win, but that's the way it is. So in your opinion, who are the top 5 teams in the NFL?
Right now, the way they're playing, it looks like nobody can, really stop. I have the Falcons number 1. I think they're the best team in football. Matt Ryan is playing great, and more importantly, their defense is playing even better. I think my number 2 is definitely the Ravens. Again, they have that same type of thing. They have a great young quarterback playing really well. They have a great running back in Ray Rice, and then their defense, of course, is always lights out. Number 3, I have the 49ers. Even though they lost, it was kind of a bad loss. I didn't expect them to lose that game. I still think they are, top 3 teams, and they were really my number 1 before they lost. But you can't deny the way the Falcons and the Ravens are playing. My number 4 team is the Packers. Obviously, they still should have won that game, in my opinion. And they overcame 8 sacks in the first half. There's a lot of things they have to fix, but I think that the fact that they can still overcome it and they should have won a ball game shows that they're a great team. And then to round that out is the Texans. I think they have a great two-headed monster in Arian Foster and Ben Tate, Matt Schaub, of course, Andre Johnson. I think the only problem there is their defense isn't playing great, but their offense definitely picks up for them. So that's my top 5.
Now, Gabe, does your top 5 differ from Lane here at
A
all?
little bit. I'd probably have to start out with my number 1 personal favorite, San Francisco. I think they have too many weapons on the field at once, and their defense hasn't been playing phenomenal.
But if the 49ers played the Ravens today or the Falcons today, you think that the 49ers would still beat them?
I think they could play with them very well,
Who would win?
and give it. I think they'd give themselves for a chance to win against either of those teams. Yeah, I could see that happening. I could see them coming out and playing. I think they've been throwing it a lot more, which isn't used to their tendencies.
Right.
And I think if they gave Gore the ball a little more, I think it'd be rougher on those defenses. So
Definitely think
and
they
it would,
Gore.
it would give. He's a madman, and that would give them less time with the ball. Running it more. So I think they had a great balance last year. I think they need to even it out a little more. They're my number 1 team. My number 2 team would probably have to be the Atlanta Falcons. I'd have to agree with that. Matt Ryan, I think he's going to come out and really show people that he's something. He's going to play, and they're not in a real tough. The NFC South doesn't look real strong this year with Tampa Bay and Carolina. Still just edgy teams sometimes at best, and New Orleans playing really down 0-3. But I see them coming out with a lot more wins. They're my number 2. My number 3 would probably be New England. I know they're 1-2 right now, but it's the New England Patriots, and they'll step things up sooner or later. Baltimore's my number 4. They lost.
Behind the Patriots?
Yeah, I'm going to put them over. Oh,
After
yeah.
losing to the Cardinals the way they did?
Yeah, well, the Cardinals are 3-0, so, they're a pretty good team right now. They're playing well. So I'm not going to put them in my...
Okay, so then there we go.
I'm not going to put them
You're
in
gonna
my top 5.
You're going to put the Patriots over the Cardinals then.
Well, San
They're a
Francisco
3-0
lost.
team, and they're pretty good.
San Francisco lost to Minnesota, and where's Minnesota in your top
Minnesota.
ranks?
Minnesota? They're not in my
Vikings.
top 5 ranks. 'Cause
Minnesota.
they're 1 and
Exactly.
2.
Well, San Francisco's in your top ranks.
They're my number 3 because of that loss. That's why I have them there.
Well, what point are you trying to make? They're 2-1 also. I don't
I'm
know
trying to
what
make
you-
that. I don't think that the Patriots are ahead
Are
of
number 5?
are ahead of the Ravens.
Are ahead of the Ravens.
I don't agree that they're ahead.
well,
of them. That's my point.
well,
You
the
keep going
Ravens
with
are
your
2-1.
Keep going with your Power 5. That's my.
The Ravens are 2-1.
Continue
As it is, they've been
carry on.
beaten. So, is that my number 4? Am I on 4 right now? I think my number 5 would probably be Baltimore. They're my pick for the NFL right now. But the way things are going right now, my top 5, they are my last number 5. So, those are my Power 5s.
I would say my Power 5, but it'd have to be the Kansas City Chiefs 5 times. So, the best quarterback in the NFL currently. This is really hard because there's, especially with those rookies coming into the league and definitely making the quarterback position, more valid, but just giving the quarterback position a lot more to look at because of the talent that's there in Andrew Luck, RG3, and then a lot of those older guys, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford with the Lions. He always has Calvin Johnson, so he always has that big play capability. Who do you guys think that is the best quarterback in the NFL right now? Lane?
I think Matt Ryan, the way he's playing, he's the best quarterback in the league. His touchdown to picks ratio is great. He's got a great quarterback rating. He's leading the team. You know, I mean, of course, it doesn't hurt when you have a great running back like Michael Turner, you know, to kind of set that play action up for you and stuff like that. But I think he's playing lights out. I think he's the best quarterback right now.
For me, I'd have to say that Aaron Rodgers is still the best quarterback in the league, just because I know that when you get sacked 8 times in a half, you really don't have the best opportunity to be successful because you're always, you know, trying to fight for your life. But you know, he played his butt off on Monday night, just like he has this whole season. And it's hard to negate everything that he did last season, coming out with kind of a slow start for the Packers with these first 3 weeks. But I think throughout the rest of the season, Aaron Rodgers will prove his dominance and that he is that MVP player. Who is your quarterback?
Obviously, the best quarterback in the NFL.
Obviously.
The past 5 years has been Tom Brady, but I'm going to give you someone who's played well, in my opinion, in the past 3 weeks is Christian Ponder. I like the way he's been playing. He's handled himself real well. Florida State kid, he's an athlete too, proved it on the ground against San Francisco.
The best quarterback in the NFL right now. Is
The
Christian
best?
Ponder.
He's playing the best football I see right now.
Christian
Well,
Ponder.
I mean, Tom Brady isn't playing lights out like he's been. They're 1-2, obviously. So, but right now, I think Christian Ponder's been
Christian
playing
Ponder.
the best football so far. You know, he really came out and impressed me against the 49ers, and I'm a Christian Ponder
I
believer.
got to change my pick, Matt Castle.
Yeah.
Christian Ponder. Okay. All right, that's fine.
I thought Ed Reed was the best quarterback in the league. So, you know, if you at home disagree with Gabe Saquetta's picks, you can come and be on the show because we would love to get rid of him. I'm just
We
kidding.
need a new person.
We need somebody
Just
else.
kidding. Just kidding. We love
We
you,
love
Gabe.
you, Gabe. With so much put on the safety in NFL nowadays, the kickoff is one of the more I don't know. I guess it's really irrelevant now
Yeah.
because there's not anything you like. Every single time it seems to be a touchback, and it used to have such big play potential when guys like Dante Hall, Devin Hester, people like that had the ability to catch a ball and take it 108 yards to the house, and that was really special. But kickers always kicking it out of the back of the end zone. Nowadays, what do you guys think is the league is lacking because of these rule changes?
Again, they're so worried about safety. I love the kickoff, and I love kickoff return. I think those are some exciting plays. Back in the 2000 Super Bowl when, you know, the Giants and the Ravens returned it, you know, back to back, and the Ravens returned it and the Giants returned it. I thought that was awesome. It's one of the coolest things that's ever happened in NFL history. And the fact that they're trying to negate it, I feel like they just might as well throw it out, you know. They might as well just get rid of it. And
Start
the
at
reason
the 20.
And they're talking about it for one reason, because it's very dangerous to have as great as athletes on that running full speed down and tackling somebody. I mean, there's been so many injuries. You know, a Packers guy, A.J. Hawk, in his first year in the league, he was on special teams. He ran down, tried to break. He was a wedge breaker, and he broke his collarbone. Was out for the whole year. So, you know, those are, you know, it's a dangerous thing, but it's a great part of the game, and I think it's dumb that they've tried to you know, basically take it out of the game without taking it out of the game, just a touchback every time, and to just get rid of it completely. I don't think they should. And I get that they're trying to have safety and stuff, but I just think it's a great part of the game, and I hate that they're trying to get rid of it.
Yeah, you know, I would agree. I always ask myself, like, what would happen if Brian Urlacher lined up at this end zone and Ray Lewis lined up at the other, and they just ran 50 yards straight at each other?
There'd be a hole in the universe.
Yeah, exactly. It would just be, everything would implode.
Yeah.
No, I think that that's kind of similar to what kickoff is, in that you start and
Awesome.
you are trying to, you know, haul down the field and make as big of a hit and impact play as possible. And if you are the return team, you want that big impact play, because really the momentum game and every part of a football game is won in special teams, you know, because that's where it has to start. That's where field position starts, and that's where everything gets its beginning. So I think that if you take out kickoff or try to modify it like the NFL has, you take away a lot of the big play potential, and even, you know, less athletes being able to come and be utilized to their potential. You know, less really fast, great kick returners with a lot of finesse being able to go and make those awesome plays because the ball's going out of the back of the end zone every time. Gabe, what do you think?
I see that as a big mistake by the NFL taking it out, if they decide to take it out. You know, that's a chance to earn field position for a team, and field position is everything in the game of football, you know, moving the ball down the field. And I mean, how boring is that? That everyone starts on the 20 every single time. You know, they line up. That's not football to me. I think it should be earned, and I mean that's a chance for a fumble. Anything can happen on a kickoff. Obviously, with 22 guys flying as fast as they can at each other, you know, that's a lot of stuff going on. And I think if the NFL finally takes that away, that's going to be a huge loss and a huge loss of excitement for the game of football. So I disagree with that.
All right, next on to college football. Who do you guys believe are your Power 5 in college football? You know, a lot of teams playing very well right now, and a lot of upsets. You know, K-State beating OU this weekend. A lot of exciting things happening. So we'll start off with Lane. What are your Power 5?
I definitely think Alabama is obviously the number one team in the land and number one team in my Power 5. I mean, they haven't faced a challenge. I mean, they faced a challenge apparently in Michigan, Arkansas, but again have just completely blown them out of the water and made them look like nothing. Obviously, they have more coming down the road, LSU and teams like that, Georgia, but I definitely think they're number one. Number two, I think is Oregon. Their offense is so high-powered, and Gabe, you talked about it a little last week. They could give Alabama a run for their money. I don't think they will, but I mean, they'll obviously compete with them because that offense is just they play with so much speed that it's ridiculous. My number 3 team is Florida State. I think their quarterback is playing great, and they're playing great defense. They play a little weaker opponent, so I think it's a little different, but. So I don't think it's national championship year for them, but I think they're my number 3. Number 4 is Georgia. I think the way Aaron Murray's playing is great, and of course Jarvis Jones on the defensive side, just another great SEC defense. And then my number 5 is LSU, another SEC team that plays with great defense. I think their offense, I have them at number 5 because their offense isn't great. They're kind of sputtering, so that's my top 5.
Gabe, what is your Power 5?
I'm going to switch your 1 and 2 lane, and I'm going to say Oregon is my number 1. Yeah, I see that high-powered offense is just unstoppable. But, everyone has a bad day and can be beat. And, they might go down sometime, but they're my number 1 for right now. Alabama, my number 2, because they really haven't played anyone. Arkansas, obviously, down, and they blew them out of the water. They played Florida Atlantic, not
Michigan.
And Michigan,
Michigan.
but
Number 8, Michigan.
Notre Dame also beat Michigan.
I know, but
and,
that's
Not Notre Dame.
and Notre Dame is playing fairly well
they're 4-0
for them.
for the
Yes,
first time
yeah, I
since
agree.
2002.
They've played some close games. It's a big deal. I'm enjoying it. The Golden Domers are finally winning. My favorite team, but I'm putting Alabama as number 2. So after that, I'd probably say LSU. They've got a stellar defense as always. I want to bump down to South Carolina as my number 4. Steve Spurrier's getting a lot of guys to come out and play, and they got a big defensive lineman. I can't remember his name. I think he's number 7. He's a stud, and he's really eating up guys. And they destroyed Mizzou. Still not a very good team, but Mizzou, came out and didn't perform against South Carolina. So they'll be my number 4, and my number 5 will be the USC
Syracuse?
Trojans.
Oh, USC, okay.
USC Trojans. I'm still going to leave them up there. They've been a great team. They had a little trip up, but I still think they're high-powered. Not a whole lot of depth. If they can stay injury-free, I do see them going on being winless for the rest of the season. Winless, undefeated for the rest of the season. So
went out the rest of the season. Yeah, I mean I think USC is a good pick. They were in my next one. It was either between LSU or USC.
Mm-hmm.
With that one loss, it's not that big a deal. It's obviously going to hurt their national championship, but South Carolina.
I see them coming out and playing. They're in a tough
You don't
conference.
think Georgia?
Hey,
Okay.
Georgia has impressed me,
Yeah,
but
I feel you.
I'm going to throw in South Carolina.
I got you.
All right, really quick. The worst team in college football, go. I mean, that's a really broad statement. So
That's
worst,
a really, really broad statement.
worst team that has been ranked this year.
That was overrated. Is that what you're
most
talking about?
overrated team.
Most
in
overrated
college
team.
football.
I definitely think Michigan was
I was just about to say that.
really overrated.
You
I
made me
mean,
pick a
obviously,
different one.
we just talked about it. They just lost it. We got a Michigan fan as the host, but
I can't, and the thing is I can't like
Why?
negate that.
yeah, well, it's true. Yeah, number
They
8
have
to
not came out
lose
and played
to
Denard Robinson. has just
Alabama,
not
and then Notre
performed.
Dame, who nobody sees. It's kind of like a sleeper pick. They don't even see them getting a bowl win. Beats them. They were definitely overranked. I think a lot of hype was put on Denard Robinson. So,
Yeah.
so Kettle.
My most overrated team is Arkansas because they've gotten
My
beat
next
by
pick,
everyone.
actually, yeah.
And now we just screwed Gabe over.
So
Gabe, what is your
I'm going to
pick?
say Wisconsin. Where have they been?
That's very true.
Monty Ball hasn't done anything. I haven't heard anything about them.
They lost to Oregon State.
They lost to Oregon
Yeah.
State. Yeah. Are they? I don't even see them in the rankings right now at all. So, and they were in the top 10 or close to it.
In the
So
beginning
they're going to be
seasons.
my big bummer for the season. They lost Russell Wilson. I thought that'd be better for Monty Ball. He'd get more carries, but he hasn't really came out and done anything. So they are my blown over pick.
Fair enough. Only if Russell Wilson could have thrown interceptions for touchdowns with the Badgers.
Yeah.
That would have been-
exactly.
Might have been different.
Yeah, it might have been a different story. Thank you so much for watching Sports Talk Around the Clock. Have a good evening.